I know I overpost. When I go to sleep, when I try to, that's when I have the best thoughts. And when I blog, I get to record them. But vlogs are crap, and I'm aware of that. Especially since I just watched Wheezy, who was excellent. YouTubers that are good at what they do are amazingly funny and interesting and capable, and I'm not. But I had two or three very important thoughts. One was the sprott, which I made a video about already, and I realized that the way new thoughts occur when it comes to analysis, which is different from the way thoughts come from exploration. But when it comes to analysis, you have cognitive dissonance, and each time you run over that like a bump in the road, there's a little bit of jamad, damage backwards, okay? Accept that as a word. That jamad builds up until you discover something about that cognitive dissonance, some aspect of what's bugging you there that has a deeper truth that you learn at that point. That jamad maxing out gives you the sprott, which is the response that your brain creates every time it goes over that thing that is giving you cognitive dissonance. And look, I have a lot of cognitive dissonance when I encounter racists because part of me wants to jump through the computer screen and beat them up because I think of black people as the most vulnerable and weak and susceptible to everything population in the world. I mean, the Ebola outbreak, the diseases, the lack of water, all these things. Oh, so that was the second concept that I wanted to say. The other thing is that when I look at black crime, if it maxes out, if it becomes so foreign to me that I no longer self-identify with the criminal that's doing it because I'm disgusted, when I think about that, I when I max out, I attribute that to racism. And I think that some racists say you shouldn't. You should attribute it to the black guy that did the bad thing and look bad, 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 and you should think about that more. But if you are terrible, it is because of a deprivation that you didn't get, whether it was love or food or an environment without lead in the water or whatever it is. And that deprivation isn't your fault. And so the people that are most damaged and oppressed are the people, the wellspring from which a great deal of crime comes. For instance, Jeffrey Dahmer, he's a criminal par excellence, an amazing criminal, got away with a lot of stuff. But he became that way because he was deprived of a lot of things in his teenage years and was an alcoholic for a good deal of that time. He was deprived of the attention necessary to grow into an adult. And so he never did. He just ended up growing up to become an evil. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. This was what brought me back to the internet to record my thought. This is how I'm going to sell products. There was a YouTube user that turned me on to a water across the world nonprofit place. And they're selling t-shirts to raise money. I'm sure Doctors Without Borders probably sells t-shirts somewhere as well. Pick your charity. I can buy those t-shirts and then I can print things onto them. And so my brand is a piggyback brand because everything in my life is piggyback. I've done nothing on my own at all, but I do everything that other people do, sometimes a little bit better because I stood on the shoulders of giants. That's how I saw father. And the other thing is, my father has no legacy at all. I care nothing for his last name. Nothing about me matters. I am a chameleon that can be recreated any shape, stripe, or color, or polka dot. It doesn't matter what happens to me either, because I accept my own death, and the only reason I want to keep living is to further the lives of my daughter and the community I care about, which is humanity. And that's an important thing, that we should care about humanity, not our racial group or our religious group or whatever. And I shouldn't have to say that. That's what gives me the cognitive dissonance when I'm dealing with racists. Because I can deal with somebody that believes something different than I do about quantum mechanics. But with racism, it just seems so basic that you must get over it. And yet people that are racist don't get over it intentionally, and they do so for some belief in a higher cause. And it just looks like bunkum or jenkum to me. It looks like the noxious fumes of poop that they are getting high off of. It just seems ridiculous. Again, my brand will be the piggyback brand of buying charity goods and then adjusting them and then selling them with the adjustments intentionally on the charity good. One, so that people that buy from my brand can decide what charity they want to buy the product from. And all I do is I buy that product, I adjust it with I put an N-word on it or something like that, and then I sell it to somebody new. And that's a way of donating to charity that I could incorporate around. Because if I was successful as a corporation doing that, then the charities that I target don't have to be informed about my situation at all. The money can just be transferred. So all those fees that the nonprofits have to pay, all the promotional things, the way that they have to advertise to people, they have to get the money, that's all handled for them, because it's like a single payer system. And so the more people that order stuff through my charity, the better. And the orderings that they make could be from a variety of sponsored charities, and they could look at my website if I ever make one. But this is the idea. It's a good idea too. They look at my website and they see the charity and the product of that charity on the other people's website. Buying it from me just means I can donate a little extra to whatever they're buying, and I will donate a little extra to the product that they buy. And so it'll be like a charity thrust, like a charity boost. And that charity boost, that's the brand of negaritarianism. Because, sad to say it, N-words get used. And that's one definition for the N-word. People that get used, tools. It's terrible, but it means slave to some people. And so a negaritarian cares for the slaves and the tools that we are discussing. And so understand, it's an analogy for the Boost brand, because we're increasing the effectiveness of the tools we use, and we're using every charity like a tool in order for us to add our slogan and our brand addition. Because I can publish on shirts and t-shirts, and I can make 3D prints, and so whatever you want to get from somebody else, I can do that. Anyway, that's the idea. I'm going to make this video private for a couple days and then make it public.